Hello, I'm Andy from LGV Trainers in Northampton, and today's video we're going to talk about the show me tell me questions that the examiner will ask you or might ask you on your test day. If you're doing the category C, or if you're doing direct access, which is a B straight to a C and E, you'll be asked 5, and if you're upgrading from a category C to C and E, you'll be asked 2. So if the examiner says to show me and then ask you the question, you physically demonstrate it, and if he says to tell me, and then you would just describe whatever the answer is to the question. So one of the questions could be, show me how you would check that all doors, including cargo doors, are secure. So to make sure the doors are secure, we close the door, we lock the door, I'm happy that that's secure. So to check cargo doors are secure, we're going to close the doors, make sure they're located at the bottom and at the top. Make sure it's secure. If it has some sort of security or seal on the device, make sure it's activated, not broken, not damaged in any way. On any curtain sider, make sure that all the buckles are done up on the side and the security cable's in place and not damaged. So show me how you would check for air leaks on this vehicle. So first of all, we consult the air gauge, located just here. We make sure the gauge is full. We press the foot brake, press it and hold it. We make sure that the needle holds and it doesn't drop in pressure. Also, whilst the pedal's pressed, we can listen, see if we can hear any air leaks. Once I've consulted the gauge, I would walk around the truck and I'll be listening for any hissing sounds or any air leaks. On a Class 1 vehicle, I would also jump up and I'll be listening for the air leaks on the Suzis. Tell me the main safety factors involved in loading this vehicle. So first of all, I would make sure the load itself is evenly distributed along the length of the trailer. I would make sure the load is strapped down, secured so it cannot move while cornering, braking and accelerating, and I would also make sure the load itself is not too heavy for the trailer and it's not overweight. Tell me how you would check the condition of the reflectors on this vehicle. So any reflectors, I would make sure that they're clean, not cracked or broken, and they're secure. Again, any light reflectors, the reflectors I would make sure they're clean, not broken, not damaged anyway, they're secure, and I would walk around all the vehicle checking all of the reflectors. Tell me how you would check the condition of the windscreen and windows on this vehicle. So I'll do a visual check of the windows and windscreen, make sure they're not cracked, broken, damaged or smashed in any way. I'd make sure they're relatively clean, and then from the inside I would make sure there's no stickers, mascots or flags blocking my view, and I would check all the windows in the same manner. Show me how you check the condition of the mudguards on this vehicle. As part of my daily walk round check, I will do a visual check to make sure they're not damaged or broken in any way. I'll check they're secure and in good condition, make sure they're clear of the tyre. I'd also check the mud flap, make sure that's secure, clean, not on the floor and not on the tyre. Tell me how you check your tyres to ensure that they are correctly inflated, have sufficient tread depth and their general condition is safe to use on the road. So I would check they're correctly inflated to the manufacturer's guide. I'd make sure there's at least 1 millimetre of tread, the centre 3/4 of the width of the tyre all the way around the tyre. I will check the sidewall for any cuts, tears, bulges or any damage or cords showing through, and on any steering tyres I will check the date on the tyre to make sure they're less than 10 years old. Tell me how you check the condition of the windscreen wipers on this vehicle. First of all, I will check that the wipers are secure and they're not damaged in any way. I will check the blades to make sure they're in good condition and not ripped up the ends, and I would also make sure they're in touch with the windscreen. I would do that with all windscreen wipers, and then I would get in the cab and I would operate them to make sure they operate correctly. Tell me how you would check the condition of the body is safe on this vehicle. As part of my daily walk round check, I would walk round, do a visual check of each of the panels and the body, make sure nothing's loose, hanging off, flapping around, everything's secure as it should be, and any plates and panels are secured. Show me how you would check the correct air pressure on this vehicle. So first I would consult the gauge and I would make sure it's full. Then I would consult the instrument panel, make sure there's no warning lights, there's no warning sounds, alarms, buzzards or any warnings at all. Identify where you would check the engine oil level and tell me how you would check the engine has sufficient oil. I'd open the bonnet, and this is the dipstick here. If the engine was low, I would fill it up here. This is the dipstick just here, so I would pull the dipstick out, I would clean it off with a rag or tissue or something, put it back in, pull it out, make sure it's between the minimum and maximum. If it was below the minimum or on the minimum, I would fill it up just here. Show me how you check that the wheel nuts are secure on this vehicle. I will do a visual check of the wheel nuts, make sure that all the indicators are looking at each other. If the truck did not have indicators on, I will do a visual check of the threads, make sure they're all the same, check for any rust lines that might be coming from the nuts, but if I was in any doubt at all, I would get a fitter to come out and check it. Show me how you check the operation of the warning devices on this vehicle. So on our vehicle we have two warning devices. We have the horn, turn the ignition on, and that works, and we also have a reverse warning beeper. I will select reverse, and the reverse beeper is just here. Tell me how you check the suspension on this vehicle. As part of my daily walk round check, I will check the suspension for any deterioration or damage. If the truck is fitted with spring leaves, I will check that they're smiling and not frowning. If they were frowning, that could indicate that the truck is loaded incorrectly or there is something wrong with the suspension. I would also check the rubbers on the end to make sure they're not corroded or damaged in any way. If the truck is fitted with air suspension, I will do a visual check of the airbags to make sure they're inflated and not deflated. Show me how you would check the brake lights are working on this vehicle. First of all, I will turn the ignition on, but not the engine. And then I would press the foot brake, and I would ask the examiner to go to the back and ask me if they are working. Identify where you would check the engine coolant level, then tell me how you would check the engine has correct level. This is where the engine coolant level is, so I would check that the level is between the minimum and the maximum. If it was low or below the minimum, I would fill it up just here. Tell me how you would check all headlamps, side lights and tail lights are working. So I would turn the ignition on, I would turn side lights, headlights on, I would turn my fog lights on, I would turn my hazards on, I put my main beam on, and I would walk around the vehicle and make sure that all the lights are fitted, clean and operational, and I would ask the examiner to do the same for my brake lights. The question is, show me how you would replace the tachograph disc on this vehicle. So on our vehicle we have a digital tacho and not a disc. So the examiner might ask you, how would you put your tacho card in, or how would you replace the tachograph roll? So I would say I would insert my card into slot 1 with the chip up and facing forwards, and then I would follow the directions on the screen using that arrows button and clicking OK. The examiner might well ask you what the symbols mean also. If I was to replace the tachograph roll, I would press the button here, take the old roll out, and then I would put the new roll in and close the tray. Tell me how we'd operate the loading mechanism on this vehicle. So first of all, I would park on flat level ground if possible. I'd make sure I've got plenty of clearance around the back of the vehicle to open the tail lift and to operate it safely. I would switch the tail lift on using the button here, and then I'd walk to the back of the vehicle and I'd operate the tail lift using the buttons, the up for up and down for down, or if I was using the wand, again, plug it in and use the up for up and down for down. Show me and explain how the power assisted steering is working on this vehicle. First of all, you can check that there's a lot of pressure on there at the moment, it's quite stiff. I'd start the engine. Steering becomes nice and light, therefore power steering must be working. You could also roll the truck forward a little bit and just check that it turns nice and smoothly, nice and loose. Show me how you would check the directional indicators are working. So I would put my hazard lights on, and then I would climb out of the vehicle. And then I would check that the indicator working, working, I'd also make sure they're not cracked, broken anyway, and I'd walk around the entire vehicle checking all the indicators on all sides on the unit and the trailer. Identify where the windscreen washer reservoir is and tell me how you would check the windscreen washer level. I would open the bonnet and I would check that the level is between the minimum and maximum. If it was below the minimum, I would fill it up just here. Show me what instrument checks you would make before and after starting the engine on this vehicle. So I would turn the ignition on but not the engine. I'd make sure there's no warning lights, warning sounds or alarms or buzzers, and then I'll start the engine to make sure that all these lights go out also. And there's still no alarms or buzzers. Show me where the first aid equipment is kept on this vehicle. So on our vehicle it's kept in this locker here. Not all vehicles carry first aid equipment, but some vehicles, for example an ADR vehicle, is required to carry them. Show me how you would clean the windscreen using the washers and the wipers. I will turn the ignition on, and then this bit is the wipers, so push and hold, water comes out and the wipers work. I'm happy that that works correctly. Show me how you would set the window demisters to clear the windows effectively. I would turn the gauge onto hot, I would put it onto windscreen, and I would put it onto full. Show me how you would switch the rear fog lights on and explain when you would need to use them. First of all, I'll turn the ignition on, I'll turn the headlights on, fog lights are located here. I will turn them on and make sure the symbol's on display. I'd put the rear fog lights on when visibility is less than 100 metres or when it's poor or low visibility. Show me how you switch your headlights from dip beam to main beam. So first of all, I will turn my headlights on here, and then main beam, I'd push the indicator stick away, I have my blue light come on, and then I'd pull it back to turn them off.